Hi everyone, I'm at the final stages of this painting now. So what I've done, I've gone over this with some more green, dark green, to bring it forward, and then all these other trees look like they're behind it basically. Now I'm going to highlight this tree and a few of these bushes, and then after that I'll be able to paint this tree in and show you how to do that. So I'm just going to start off with a bit of cadmium yellow and a bit of sap green, and with that get a nice light green colour. I'm just using little plastic plates at the moment. They're disposable, but if you keep them cleaning them, they last for quite a long time. I don't want it to be too bright. This first colour I want to actually use some of that. I'm going to switch plates now, so I just want a tiny bit of red into that to change the tone. I want it to be more of a yellow ochre type colour. So you see there, with the red in it, you get a bit of an ochre tinge to it then. So with that, I just want to, not too bright, I don't want it to be too bright. I just want to come up in here and highlight underneath them trees, just a little bit of a different shade of colour. So you got a good variety of colour tone going on just in there. I'm not putting pressure on, a lot of pressure, and I haven't got loads of paint on the bristles neither. So just tap in there, bit of that colour. I'm going to put some greens down in these lower areas, but while I've got this colour on here, I'm just going to work on that one bush. Maybe put another little bush here, just in front of that tree, just to give a bit of some definition in them shadows. You can see some leaves going on. It's predominantly darker on this side, it's more in silhouette, you see. Maybe we've got one down in there. You see, I haven't even had to reload the brush yet. And anywhere where you get too much of it on, don't worry about that. You can easily put a bit more dark over the top. So I do want it darker on this edge, definitely. Although you still get some leaves in there. Right, that's okay for that side. Happy. Just wanted to get something underneath these. Maybe just a bit up in there too. Bit of sunlight catching that one. That's nice. Just up in there, catching a bit of sunlight coming through trees. Nice. And then over in here, I want to go back to the other green that I was using, which is the sap green, cadmium yellow together. And with that, I'm going to push and get a ridge of paint on the brush. So just to show you, I'm going to tap and then push and get a little ridge just on that top edge of the brush there. So you've got paint on the bottom, but you've got a bit more on the top. And then just up in here, because the sunlight's going to be coming through here a tiny bit, I want to just highlight some of these branches, but I'm not touching hard. I'm being very subtle, gentle there, because I don't want to destroy that dark. I still want it to have a dark colour underneath, so that you've got the depth between this tree and the ones behind. That's pretty important, is that. Now up in there, maybe just put some little highlights, but I don't want it to get too bright, just enough. So you can see some nice leaves on there, like a beech tree or something is this. And then at the side, just over in here, I'm going to paint a pine tree. So we've got two different types of trunks that I'll be teaching. in this. Two different ways of doing two different trunks of trees. They're all slightly different, the birch and everything. There's sunlight coming through there where the blue sky is showing through, so I can put a bit more pressure on to make it a bit brighter. Just up in there, here and there. A bit darker up in there, so I'm being very gentle. Don't want it bright up at the top in there at all. Just a few little indications up in there and that's it. Keep it dark. Some more highlights down in here. That's good, I'm happy with that. It's coming off the brush nicely. I'm just using the top corner, if I can, because it gives some lovely effects and shapes. If you were doing like a weeping willow, I'd be leaning them over more of an angle. Brighten that up a tiny bit, just on the end of there. Bit more sap green with that. Keep remixing your colour up as well, it's quite important. Right. Now just down in here, have one because I'm going to have some trunks and stuff in front of this, but I want it to be a bit brighter so it's picking up this sunlight. Just on tops in there, and even put some sparkles of yellow, little sparkles of white in too, like I have done here. Really enhances it, just makes it look like that sun just zinging off there. A few more. Just where I put these darks as well, just want to come in and put some little highlights over the top of the darks. Gives depth. When I paint the trunk back in for the tree, it's going to give some nice depth then. Right over that trunk. Let's go into plan. Same up in here. A few highlights here and there. Leave them dark shadows here and there. They really can be your best friend, them shadows. Gives you the contrast that you're after. I'm going to go and get a little bit of the yellow ochre colour. Maybe even a tinge of red in that. And just down in here, I'm going to put a little bush that's a bit separate. Just in there where it's coming out into that pathway. Nice. Just a little bush, bit some up there. Predominantly dark. There. Happy with most of them highlights. I want to leave a lot of these darks because, like I said, I want that to be in silhouette more or less. Just down there. Put little indications of some bushes with the green, not the yellow ochre one, the green colour. So again, we're contrasting between the two colours. Not all the same. Just here and there, you can just put a few little zinging bits of yellow just on the tips of that. Good. And same again with this, just here and there, going to touch the tops, so there's a bit of sunlight just hitting in there, but only sparingly. Don't overkill this effect. Gets working good for you and it's easy to just get carried away. But yeah, just now and again. Do it with white too, little tiny bits of white on the brush. Just little sparklers up in here too. Just the odd one where a bit more light's hitting. That's it. Up in here maybe, got the odd one. That light just zinging off top of them, maybe fruit trees. Happy. A few little brighter ones down in there. Just along edge of pathway. That side I'm happy with now, I'm going to leave that. Now back to the trunks on this side. So I'm just going to clean this brush. Just using acrylic so it's water. Just some water, squeeze out the bristles after. And that's good enough to use again. Right, so I've got a little fan brush. You could use a big fan brush or whatever, but I'm wanting to try and get a bit more detail this time in this. So I'm just gonna get the some black. So we've got two different colours to make a brown. I've got sap green. Sap green, I've got umber, burnt umber, and I can just use a bit of black and a bit of red because green and red makes brown. That should give us a nice dark brown colour just in there. Bit more black to that. I want it to be quite a dark tone. Quite a shadows in here, a lot of shadows. So the dark part of the tree I want to be very dark. So that's why I'm sticking so much black in with that brown. I know I'll have a good contrast between the highlights then and the shadows on this tree. So I'm just going to get the majority of that off. And then over here I'm going to get some titanium white on this other palette. So I'll pick up some of the dark colour that I mixed, put that in there. I'm just going to add some white to it so we get a lighter tone. So we've got darks and then lights to work with. Put quite a bit of white in with that. Just try and mix it best you can with your brush. Yeah. Something about like so. So then I will just clean off the brush. Just want to roll one side of the brush through dark, like so. And then one side, I'm going to flip it over through that light colour that I've got in there. Maybe even a bit lighter than that because it's going to mix. There. Now just up in here, I know I've got these branches. So I'm just going to come down with that, just like so, into there. And I want it to have quite a gnarly trunk that comes right out to there. Just going to touch some of these that I did before, leaving gaps where the leaves are. And then I'm going to make it a lot wider than it is at the moment. So that's the highlight side I'm putting in there. and then I'll have a shadowed side to that too. With acrylics you can go backwards and forwards constantly. A bit too bright. That's something like I was wanting. And then again you can brighten stuff up, darken it off, however you like. So that's the light side. Just blend that down to about there. It's a bit too smooth looking and stuff at the moment, so again I'll just wipe my brush off. Let me go into some dark brown again. I'm just going to go on this opposite side and create the sort of width that I'm after for this, because I want it to be quite a big tree with a big trunk sitting down like that. And you can come back and just blend that gently into the light area that you've just done. Blending the two together.